Hi folks, and welcome into this new season of This Week in Pearl. It is 2026, and we like to bring you this show each and every week about everything that's happening inside the city of Pearl, and specifically what's going on in our state legislature that's going to affect you. So we always like to have Representative Gene Newman and Senate Pro Tem Dean Kirby on this show each and every week, where we talk to them about the legislative process and everything that's going on. But this week, we have a special show just for you. Rankin First held its legislative forum today, and we filmed that and going to bring it to you right now. So when we come back, we'll jump straight into that legislative forum. And then stay tuned after that for what's going on in Pearl. We'll be right back.
Here in Pearl, we have Trustmark Park. It seats 8,500 people. It's a great venue that we have here locally. You can catch a baseball game. We have a new team, the Mississippi Mud Monsters, so we're so excited about that. In Trustmark Park, the stadium's been fully renovated. And adjacent to that, we have Bass Pro Shop, as well as the Mississippi outlets that people can come shop and enjoy and have a great time. So it's a good place to come. It's a destination spot for our city. We did a $12 million renovation to our Parks and Rec several years ago, and what we were missing was another key area for our children to come and just be able to hang out and have fun, but also have some playground equipment that was really cutting edge. I've always thought if you can get your community together, then you can have a stronger sense of community. And I think that's what Main Street brings to the table for us. And even though we're a post-World War II city and our architectural doesn't signify a downtown, we're trying to have an area that we create that people can come together and have a sense of community.
On this Monday morning. Slight change from the agenda happened on Friday, but I want to start off with Justin Martin with Community Bank to start with our invocation. Justin, if you want to come up and do our invocation.
Sure. Thank you, Garrett. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this group of phenomenal leaders in the room, dear God. And thank you for continuing to bless us. Thank you for blessing our state, our county, dear God, and all the successes that we've had. We couldn't do it without you. Dear God, I ask you that you continue to and guide our legislative leaders as they enter the session this year, dear God, and continue to bless those that protect us every single day. Lord, I ask that you bless the food and the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to your service. In your name we pray. Amen.
So our legislators are making their way up here. I want to welcome everyone again, bright and early on a Monday. I know it's 7:30, and that's early for many people, but we wanted to make sure our legislators had the opportunity to get back to the Capitol before session starts later today. Again, we do appreciate all of our legislators. I do want to recognize all the elected officials in this room. If I try to call everyone out by name, I would certainly miss somebody and make somebody mad. But if you are an elected official, would you please stand and so you have an opportunity to be recognized? So this is the first time we've ever done the legislative forum for Rankin First, and ultimately we've got a great turnout here. It looks like we're well over 100 people in attendance, but thank you for attending today's session. I am going to turn it over to the Honorable Greg Harper here in a few minutes to kick off our panel, but I do want to give a quick update on Momentum 2030, our capital campaign, and what we're doing for Rankin First right now. Hopefully all of y'all are familiar with Momentum 2030. I know we've been sending a lot of emails about it. I know we've had a lot of meetings about it. If you've not had the opportunity to talk with us, you certainly will. Myself or Regina Todd will be reaching out soon. But ultimately, where we're taking Rankin First ultimately is a metric-driven organization, really driven on these 5 key focus areas. You've seen all these, and ultimately business retention, attraction, expansion, you recognize that, workforce development, site development, legislative advocacy, and tourism. Those are ultimately the reasons, everything we're focused on every single day. And today's event is the first of our legislative forums. It really goes in line with our legislative advocacy work. It also goes in line with our site development work that we're doing for Rankin First. You may not think about it, but through the Mississippi Development Authority, every year these legislators allocate a pot of money to site development to make sure we've got industrial sites ready to go for future projects. And I appreciate y'all's commitment to that, because we're competing every single day across the Southeast, and we've got to make sure we've got industrial sites ready. And I'm proud to say that this year we received the second largest grant for site development across the state of Mississippi for our industrial site right here in Pearl at the West Rankin Industrial Park. I'm very proud of that. It's the largest site development grant we've ever received for Rankin First. And also we received dollars for a new industrial park that we have in Florence, Mississippi. We call the Southwest Rankin Industrial Park. So we'll be continuing to work on that. It's the first industrial park we have in South Rankin County, as well as the first industrial park we have on Highway 49. But ultimately, from the new industrial park we have here in Pearl that the supervisors purchased for us back last year, we're going to get allocated $6 million of improvements over the next several months for that site. So we've got good project activity there, and I'm excited to see where that goes. But today's session is really the kickoff for how we do legislative work across the state of Mississippi. We've got a great delegation, a very strong delegation here for Mississippi. I'm very proud of this. We do have 13 elected officials at the state level who represent Rankin County. We can't have 13 people on a panel, but I'm very proud of the panel we have assembled here today, and we will be doing another panel in April. Today's session is really talking about what the session's going to bring over the next several months, and then we'll bring back legislators in April to talk about what was actually accomplished. Just to give you a reminder of what some high-level metrics are for Momentum 2030, over the next 5 years, we are focused on bringing 1,000 net new jobs to Rankin County and ultimately $500 million in new capital investment to Rankin County. These are strong metrics. You've also seen a lot of other metrics, but these are the ones that really people are most impressed about, the ones that most people care about. And then we'll also be working to add 4 new industrial sites across the community. And our site development dollars that MDA allocates through the legislature is extremely important in making sure we continue investing in Rankin County. So with that, where are we at on Momentum 2030? As of last week, we're at 52% of our capital campaign, and we are just getting started with our capital campaign. We've got about 200 target companies, so if you've not been reached out to us yet, you'll see an email from us soon. But I'm very proud that in just 2 months of time, we're at 52% of our overall fundraising goal. We are trying to raise $1.5 million over the next 5 years, which supports $300,000 to our overall budget. And if you remember, when we started this capital campaign, just 4% of our overall budget was contributed by the private sector. The supervisors contributed 96% of our budget. If we look at across our peers, across Mississippi and the Southeast, those ranges from the private sector investment typically range from a third, so 33%, up to 60% or higher in some cases. So what this capital campaign really allows us to do is show to our elected officials, showcase to supervisors and private companies that our private companies in Rankin County are fully invested in economic development, and that's exactly what we're doing with Momentum 2030, and we're seeing great success already. So I want to appreciate the companies who have already committed here. This is a program of our Committee of 100. And again, we have about 70 companies that are part of our Committee of 100. But these are the companies so far who have committed to Momentum 2030 so far, ultimately falling up under our Committee of 100. I mean, look at Cadence Bank, Thrash Construction, Ergon, as well as Community Bank. These are some of the largest investors that we'll have across Rankin First, and we appreciate that. Birdsong Construction, we've got new investors who have never invested in Rankin First, but fully committed to economic development in Rankin County. We're just getting started with this. We do have a $1.5 million goal. I think based on where we're at today, we'll far exceed that. And I know our supervisors, I know our elected officials, and our organization, our board of directors are extremely excited about that. The level of energy we're seeing from our private companies investing in economic development. With that, I do want to make sure we have plenty of time for this panel, because we will ultimately be hearing from our panelists for about 50 minutes. So just be prepared. We've got, I think, Honorable Greg Harper's got a great panel and great questions lined up. But ultimately, I want to make sure I introduce our our panel here today. We have Senate Pro Tem Dean Kirby, we have Josh Harkins, Representative Gene Newman, Representative Brent Powell, Representative Lance Varner, and Representative Lee Yancey. So I appreciate y'all's time today on this panel. We're extremely excited about this. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Honorable Greg Harper. Thank you.
They don't look nervous to me. Looks like they've done this before. So it's great to see everybody. And you know, here's one thing I know. We kind of take things for granted sometimes. And I just want you to know that not every county is like Rankin County. And you've got everybody pulling in the same direction. And you look across the room and you've got obviously members of the legislature, you've got mayors, supervisors, other elected officials. I mean, and everybody's going the same way. And I promise you, it's not like that all the way across the state. This is a wonderful, wonderful place. And so I'm only going to ask Gene Newman the hard questions. Everything else will be pretty easy, senators. So I just want to say that I'm really, really proud of being with this group. And so let's just do this. Let's just start and take a minute or two for everybody just tell a little bit about themselves, maybe a little bit of your history. You know, now if anybody filibusters, they're going to get the hook if we do that. But we'll start, I guess I'm supposed to say Senator Kirby. I want to say Dean. That's what but we'll say Senator Kirby. We'll start with you. Tell a little bit about yourself. Maybe if you got something that's really important to you this year, and we'll go all the way down the line.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, first off, Greg, thank you, or should I say Congressman?
Hey, you.
Anyway, thank you very much. And I want to thank you guys for today, especially, you know, Greg and Regina for putting this together. I think it's really important that the business community and the legislators stay hand in hand, and we know, and the only way we're going to know is if you tell us what you guys need, and we try our best to do that. So it's important that we communicate and continue to do that. You know, we have a great working relationship. You didn't ask for a speech, but you asked me about myself. But anyway,
time's up.
It's good to have a great working relationship with Rankin First and the Chamber, and it's worked out really well, and you've got some great leaders. But most of all, besides Senator Harkins and Senator Rhodes that's here somewhere as well, working with these House members, they're great guys. We work closely together. We only vote alike about 99.8%, I'd say. Sometimes we don't agree, but you know what? I love my wife, and we didn't always agree either. So, but anyway, it's great to be a part of Rankin County and what's going on here, and with the leadership, not just in the state Senate, but with our mayors and our supervisors, our aldermen, and our elected officials in the courthouse. So anyway, it's good. Now I'll tell you what you asked me. I'm Senate Pro Tem. My good friend Senator Harkins actually nominated me for that, and so I enjoy being the Pro Tem. But now being Pro Tem, I'm also chairman of the Rules Committee, and the committees that I'm on are Corrections, County Affairs, Ethics, Finance, Insurance, Interstate and Federal Corporation, Judiciary A, Municipalities, a Peer Committee, and also I'm on the Budget Committee. So I stay busy. But anyway, it's just an honor for me to be here. As far as the area I represent, I am part of Flowood. We share Flowood. Josh and I do, and then Pearl and Brandon. So this is my 35th session. So I appreciate you guys letting me serve that long.
That's great. Senator Harkins.
Thank you. My name is Josh Harkins, for those I've not had the opportunity to meet. This is my 15th year in the State Senate. I chair Finance. I'm on several other committees: Energy, Environment, Highways, Transportation, Public Health, universities, colleges, Wildlife, and I'm also on the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. I represent Flowood, Brandon, parts of Brandon, parts of Flowood, the reservoir area, Pisgah, Fannin, kind of the northern part of the county. When I got elected, I had I guess, eastern part of Madison County as well in my district. And, I don't know if you paid attention to much over the last 2 decades of census information, but Rankin County is one of the 6 areas in our state that's continuing to grow. And so my district, by virtue of that, is shrinking. And now I'm just in Rankin County alone. So it's gotten smaller both times we've redistricted the legislature. So, but I've lived here all my life. I'm in real estate is I'd say my honest job, but I've been doing that since I got out of college, working in a family business. So just appreciate the opportunity to represent Rankin County, and I'll echo what Senator Kirby said is, we do have a great relationship with our other Rankin delegation, and it's important because not a lot of the areas across our state do have that type of relationship. They don't agree with their colleagues at the other end of the building. They have different interests, and I think for the most part we have been very fortunate, and I take pride in the fact that I represent a county that is just everything's clicking. It's been clicking. Ever since I got elected, the first piece of mail I got after I got elected was this survey that comes in every month, and it's the unemployment survey. And it basically lists every county in the state and what the unemployment rate is. And the first time I opened it, Rankin County was the lowest. And the last time I just opened it, Rankin County was the lowest. And I think all but maybe 4 or 5 months in the 15 years I've been serving as state senator, Rankin County has had the lowest unemployment rate in the state. And so it's a blessing because there are other areas that are a little more challenging, but it is a blessing to represent Rankin County, and I do enjoy working with local business leaders and our local elected officials to continue to try to push prosperity out amongst Rankin County and watch it continue to grow. So thank you for the opportunity.
Representative Newman.
Good morning. My name's Gene Newman. I represent Pearl. My district is right here. I replaced the great Ray Rogers, who always did a great job of representing Pearl, and it's been a pleasure to serve Pearl. And I now have 1 box in Brandon. My district was changed this last time we reapportioned things, and I actually go into downtown Brandon. I take in City Hall and all that, and I have 37 voters in that box. So, I represent. I don't know why I have that box, but anyway, it's not even the whole box, it's just part of it, but I get downtown Brandon. So anyway, I'm a vice chair of public property. I'm on several different committees, and it's always a pleasure to be able to talk to folks in Pearl and Rankin County. I listen to guys from other places like Josh Nim was talking about, and I listen to the things that they have to say about dealing with their constituents. We don't have that in Rankin County. Even when somebody doesn't necessarily agree with what we're doing or doesn't agree with us, they're straight with us. They don't come at us two-faced and stuff. So, and we appreciate that. And I thank y'all for being here this morning, and I hope we can answer some questions.
Representative Powell.
Thank y'all for letting me be here with y'all today. My name is Brent Powell. I represent District 59, which is primarily just the reservoir area. I do have the business district of Flowood as well, and like they were saying, my district's steadily shrinking, which is good. I didn't initially want to be in politics. It's not really my personality. I blame the Harkins family for all of this. They had me come in a special election. Josh and his father called me to do it, and I said, well, if I hate it, we've got 3 years to find somebody. And 14 years later, I'm sitting in front of y'all answering questions. So, but like they were saying, we love Rankin County. We tolerate the Senate. We don't get along with them real good, but we do honestly have a really good delegation, and it is phenomenal that other senators and House of Representative people come up to us just wondering how we get along with everybody, including supervisors, the clerks, everybody. So thank you for letting me be here today.
Representative Varner.
Hey, I'm the new one. I'm the freshman up in the panel, and so I'm going to yield all the questions to everybody else today. No, I'm Lance Varner. I serve District 62, which is Rankin County. I've taken a small part of Simpson County and a little bit of Copiah County down in Crystal Springs. I serve on the committees, agriculture. I wrote them down because I won't remember them all. Agriculture, university and colleges, Macon Finance, municipalities, transportations, and Judd B are the ones that I'm on at the Capitol. I've been in Rankin County all my life. I grew up in Brandon. I'm a business owner. I'm kind of echoing the same thing that Brent Powell said. I wasn't supposed to be in politics. That wasn't part of my plan. Tom Weathersby retired, and when he retired, he asked me about running, and here I am. So and the rest is history. I have a passion for Rankin County. I love Rankin County. Like I said again, I went here from first grade through 12th grade in school in Brandon, so my heart is here. I love Florence, Mississippi, and South Rankin. We have a great team of folks there. My wife's a counselor in Brandon Middle School, and I say all that to say that probably tells you where I am on some things that may get talked about at some point today. But I'm telling you, I have a heart for public schools and a heart for Rankin County public schools. We have some of the best in the state. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. And so I'm a believer in it and a supporter in that. I hope that I'm going to echo a lot what these folks said. We have the greatest team you can ask for. We get along. We talk about things. I love our Senate folks and I love our House folks. We got great people all the way around. So we're just glad to be here, glad to serve you, and hopefully we can get some questions answered if there's some that you may need answered today. So that's all I have to say. So thank y'all for being here.
Representative Yancey.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Rankin First, for this opportunity for this forum and to allow us a chance to visit with the business leaders. I'm Lee Yancey. This is my 11th year, I believe, in the legislature. I was in the Senate for 4 years, and this is my 7th year in the House. My wife, Courtney, and I have been married for 33 years. We have 2 children, 2 grandchildren. I can tell you being a grandfather is one of the best things I've ever experienced. By the grace of God, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, and I really empathize and sympathize with people who are going through that. And before I had cancer, I prayed for people and I sat beside them, and I really didn't know what they were going through. And now I have a whole different perspective. I'm healthy and happy, and so I just, by the grace of God, I'm sitting before you today. I'm chairman of the Business and Commerce Committee in the House. We handle bills that deal with registrations, licenses, things that come to us from the Secretary of State's office, different business and charity type legislation. For the last almost 20 years, I've been an investment advisor representative with Element Wealth is the name of our company now. It's had several names over the years. We are a Ross & Yerger company, so I'm insurance licensed as well as investments. And I really enjoy what I do at the legislature, and it is such a privilege to serve Rankin County and to serve with these gentlemen. And we do have a unique group, and I feel very, very fortunate. And, when I hear someone calling me from Rankin County, you have to know that is a first priority for me, to make sure we get what we need in order for us to keep going, because all of us are pulling the wagon in the same direction, and we want to help you. So thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the rest of the discussion.
Thank you, Representative, and special thanks, you're right, to Rankin First for allowing us to have this type forum and putting that together. It's a great way to kind of get an overview, and then after the session, we'll probably get a follow-up at some point to see where you think things went. So it's been referenced in here that maybe the last couple of sessions, there have been little struggles between the bodies of the House and the Senate, but it seems like this is better. You just get that feel this could be better. So I guess with no local and private projects last year, what do you feel the prospects are this year for that to happen? And we'll just let everybody take a stab at that. Senator Kirby. Come on. Are we going to get funding this year? Do you feel like we'll work things out?
Why are you always picking on me?
Because you're closest to me.
No, I'm kidding. Well, first off, local and privates are not a problem with us. As far as the Senate, most every local and private bill for everyone passes. It really does, because what a local and private does actually is give the people the right to vote on some project that they want in their district. So that's never been a problem. I will say that most everyone, only again 98.8% of those local and private bills have to go through finance, and our good friend here, Senator Harkins, is the finance chairman, so we don't have a lot of trouble with local and privates in Rankin County. So I feel very confident. Now, if you're talking about special projects, that's a different ball game that don't go through local and private. But hopefully this year we will.
Yeah, please talk about that a little bit. That's obviously a big part.
All right, well, I'll be quiet. But anyway, local and private, we all like local and privates, and I always vote for local and private for every city and every county, because to me, that gives the people the right to vote on something that their supervisors or their city leaders think that they need.
So what about special projects? What do you think where we are on that?
Special projects, of course, we push hard. Last year we didn't have special projects. We got tied up in a bunch of mess. But anyway, hopefully this year we will have some special projects, and Josh actually handles most all of those special projects in the Senate, and he's very fair, and he's fair to all, but he favors Rankin County.
I think at the end of the session, that's usually something that occurs at the end of the session, and I think one of the things that we've really tried to work on since I've been finance chair the last 6 years is, we haven't borrowed a whole lot of money to do the projects. Coming in after COVID, before I got to be finance chairman, I remember our appropriations chairman called myself and another senator. He's like, "Y'all come to my office quick." And we walked in there, he's like, "Shut the door." And we shut the door, and he goes, "We're going to have $13 million extra this year." $13 million he was excited. We had $13 million left over. Now we're having, years where you have $300, $400, $500 million left over. It's it's new, but in light of that, we're not borrowing money. So we wound up paying off about $2 billion in debt. But we do have a CapEx fund this year that I feel hopeful, and hope springs eternal. So we'll start out the beginning of the session on the guise of, yes, I hope to have a project build to help local communities complete some projects. But, in the past, we've been borrowing $300 million a year to do projects. So you have to balance the need for projects. And my first or second term in the Senate, we didn't have a project bill. The world didn't end. We don't have to, have one every year, but it is helpful when we do have the funds that we can help make available to our local communities for road, sewer, water and infrastructure, stormwater projects. I mean, those are the type of things that have a lasting impact in communities. And some of the projects, when I first got there, people were asking, for things that they wanted to, bond for a fire truck. Well, fire truck's got about 12 years life expectancy. You're going to be paying on it for 20 years. So that doesn't seem like a very good use of bond money. So we tried to prioritize projects that had a life expectancy longer than the time it was going to take to pay it off. We still have that approach. We want to invest money in projects that are going to last a long time. And road, bridge, water, sewer, stormwater infrastructure projects like that are what we've really focused on the Senate side that I've been handling on my side. There's a member in the House, Chairman of Ways and Means, he handles theirs, and so we meet at the end of the session to put these together. So we will, it's my intent to look at some projects, and hopefully we'll have some money, but also to be mindful of, you're not always guaranteed these large S's, so let's don't, just spend willy-nilly because we have it. But I think we've demonstrated over time that we've been pretty resourceful with the money that we've had and the money we've spent.
Representative Newman, your thoughts on special projects this year?
hopeful.
That's a good answer.
We got last year to the end and had some disagreements about different things, so we didn't even have a budget last year. We had to get the governor to call a special session to bring us back to fix the budget. So hopefully we learned something. There's no guarantee with that, but hopefully we did, and we can get our budget done. Once we get the budget done, then we can figure out what money there is left and what special projects we can take care of. The big elephant in the room with that is PERS, the retirement system for state employees, and trying to figure out, we've got to put some money into it. Different opinions. They passed a bill already this year in the Senate that puts $500 million cash straight into it, and then $100 million? $50 million a year for 10 years. For a total of $1 billion. The governor's plan was to put $1 billion straight into it, and I tend to like that, but we've also got other things that we've got to deal with. So we don't know what's going to happen with Medicaid and all those kind of things. So we just got to do the right things with the money that we have without borrowing anything and keep paying down the debt.
Representative Powell, anything to add to that?
Gene summed it up pretty good. We're not quite sure what Medicaid is going to suck out. We know there's a half a billion that's going in from the Senate. They kind of went nuts the first 2 days. I think they spent $1.2 billion already. We met. We were like, what just happened? We don't do this the first week of session. So I'm hopeful we have a good session this year. Last year, like I said, the Senate and the House kind of got in a little quabble, and the projects went by the wayside, which infuriated a lot of folks on our side, their side, and y'all. So hopefully we can get that together. Rankin County has a really big project that all of us are on board on, so hopefully we can get this going to where we can get Highway 18 4-lane all the way around. So I'm hopeful that we can do it without borrowing. I prefer not to have to bond anything. I think we've got enough excess that we should be able to do something. So it's just going to depend on the personalities in the House and the Senate and the leadership, and see if they want to get along this year. So,
Representative Varner.
Well, from the views of a freshman, I agree with everybody up here. No, for real, the thing is, it's like making sausage up there, y'all, and that's what everybody told me. And let's be honest with you, sausage has very good stuff, very little good stuff in it, a lot of bad stuff sometimes. But the point is that I think it's getting along. I think if everybody can get along, we can get something done. I don't think it's anybody in this group right here. Let me make it very clear. I don't think it's your Rankin delegation that's not getting along. I think some of our leadership sometimes does not always get along sometimes, but I would say that I think we all agree. But we need some special projects. I know Florence, Mississippi, and Richland, and we got some projects we definitely need. I think that water. I know water is a big deal. We don't want to become Jackson and have water issues, right? We want to make sure all our infrastructure is good. So let's hope some of these special projects do get through to help us with some of those things. But I do agree with most everybody here. We just got to hope by the end, because what's happening right now, the end is not going to be the same. So it's going to be so different at the end. And so that's one thing I've learned as a freshman, that what's right now will not be at the end. And I think we can all agree on that. So, I think that I agree with everybody and what they said. I don't think I can put too much more into it than they already mentioned.
That's great. Representative Yancey.
Well, the number one project that Rankin County has from the supervisors, from Rankin First, is we have to get that bridge built over the railroad track on Highway 18, over by Brown Bottling. If we can get a bridge over that railroad track, then we can have passenger rail all the way across the central part of the state. Opens up that area for much more economic development. And we're going to do our part, everyone sitting at this table, to make sure we get our money for that bridge. That is a huge priority for us and for you, and we're working on that. And that's not all the money we're trying to get for Rankin County, but that's part of it. Another thing that should have happened last year, from over in my district, and Brent's touches on it, and Josh's district, from Grants Ferry Road on Lakeland Drive all the way to 471, we have 5 schools and 2 churches. And if you ever try to get through there, we need more lanes of traffic, and we should have had it last year, but it got caught up in the Speaker versus Lieutenant Governor dispute. and we didn't get it. And it hurts us not to get it. It hurts us not to work together, both sides. And as I said Saturday morning at another breakfast, if they would just let we guys and girls from Rankin County run the state, we'd be much better off. Because we get along great, and we'll sit down and we'll work together and we'll get it done. You know, PERS is a big deal. I don't know, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves because we've gone from special project to PERS, but we've got a $36 billion pool of money there with a $26 billion unfunded liability. And putting $500 million in it is a great start. But if we're going to have to buy ourselves out of this, and we could go into all the reasons that it is the way it is, but it's going to take a lot of money in order for that plan to be solvent. And so we are working hard on that, and I applaud the Senate for what they've done so far. Spending $1 billion is a lot, but just a reminder, by statute, we're required to have a full rainy day fund, which has over $700 million in it. And everything after the rainy day fund is filled, whatever money comes in over and above that, over the estimate, goes into the CapEx fund. And it's my understanding that we have $1.5 billion in the CapEx fund. So we've got money. We've got money to do all of these things. We want to spend it wisely. We don't want to go crazy just because we've got a lot of money. But we have some things that need to be addressed. And so I hope and pray that we can get some of our special projects done. I'm also trying to get a little money for MORA, the Organ Recovery Agency. They're trying to get a space at Mississippi Blood Services to create a testing center so that they can test the organs that are donated. Right now, they have to send them to Dallas in order to be tested. And sometimes that time lapse is too much and the organ doesn't make it. And so it would be great if we had a place right here in Mississippi where they could test those organs, and it would save lives in that regard too. So hopefully we'll get our special projects. I think that we're on a good footing to do so with the amount of money that we have.
That's great. Thanks, everybody. And look, one of the big things in the news the last couple of years have been data centers. So as we go forward, I mean, it's big for Rankin County. It's certainly big all over the state. So when we look at the data centers, when we look at manufacturing needs, how are we able to keep up with the energy demands and water demands, but primarily energy, Senator Kirby? You get to start every time, man. Or do you want me to ask if anybody wants to answer that?
Yeah, well, you know, one thing I'm listening, and I want everyone to understand that sometimes it's not what we pass, it's what we don't pass that helps businesses. Because there's bills, these guys can tell you, there are bills introduced every year that sound good and look good, and everybody thinks they like it, and then you find out it'll actually put you out of business. So, you know, we need to be very careful of what we pass, and it's, you know, there's two sides to every bill, believe me. And if I may, I want to say, you know, we do have money. I want everyone to understand, for a change in Mississippi, we do have money. But I want everyone to understand, with this extra money, already most of it's already spoken for. I mean, I hate to say and give everyone the bad news, but a lot of it's already spoken for, in the sense that we just committed $1 billion to PERS. We just, in our bill, it's $500 million there going to PERS to start out. So that takes a chunk. In addition to that, we've just gave the teachers and assistant teachers pay raises. That takes a few, over $100 million, counting IHL and junior colleges as well. And then we're not sure how much we're going to have to spend on Medicaid. Am I correct on that, guys? No one really knows yet how many. Is that going to be 200 million? What's it going to be? We don't know. And then, of course, we just had a big insurance increase as well that, you know, as you know, the state pays a large chunk in that. So now, I've said that to say that's not bad news, and we've still got money, but it's not as much as it sounds like it is. In other words, you make money, but all you businessmen know that as you bring in money, you do have expenses going out the other side. So it's not all gravy, is what I'm saying. Now, what was your question?
I don't know. I think Josh was going to answer it.
I'll take take a stab at, when we worked on the Amazon project, one of the things Energy was facing was they were already planning on shuttering the plant in Greenville. And unbeknownst to us beforehand, Amazon had been in touch with them and said they were coming. So they ramped up their schedule on constructing a new production energy facility in Greenville. The part about that whole, I guess that season of insanity with the economic development projects, up until that point, the largest economic development project we had in our state was the SDI, the rolled aluminum mill in Columbus, which is about $3 billion, a little over $3 billion. Energy's economic development project for the Amazon project was about $2-3 billion. It kind of was just off on the side and really overlooked. But Energy, you've got them doing the new facility in Greenville. Part of Amazon's mix was they wanted clean energy. They wanted solar and wind. They paid for that part of the energy production themselves. I think if you paid attention to the news last week about X coming to South Haven, they actually bought an old plant that they're going to produce their own electricity. So I think you're going to see over time, I was thinking about this when in 2000 when Canton had Nissan come, it was like you drive up at a field and look at this field and can you imagine this all cleared off and these, facilities here, we got water available, everything's going to work out. Now they want to know where the electricity is coming from. Electricity is probably the single biggest driver of economic development now. And you have to have your site pad ready. It's not, let's envision 2 years down the road, we can clear these trees off and slick the ground up. It needs to be ready. Gas, sewer, water, infrastructure needs to be to the site. And that's why you've seen an emphasis on site grant funds from the state over the last several years. We put over $100 million into that for communities across the state. But the electrical companies are certainly going to have to do something to realize the needs of power. When you think about Amazon, the power they take, Energy's total footprint, I think, in all the states they were in was 3.2 gigs of energy. Amazon said that they want to be about 1 gig when they get done. That's one customer is going to be about 30% of Energy's footprint. That's a substantial amount of power. And I think that you're looking at technology across the country where you're having SMRs, which are small modular reactors. They're like mini nuclear reactors. Those are kind of the next wave of energy production that you're seeing across the world. I mean, they're looking, I think one opens up in Calgary in 29. But these things are scalable, they're small. You get a micro reactor, you can pull it up on the back of a tractor trailer and set up. I mean, they're getting really small, but electricity is going to be the driving force in economic development. Garrett can tell you this, that's probably the #1 question for a lot of these data centers because they use so much power, way more power than a Nissan uses, and you're thinking about, the trade-off. There aren't as many jobs with the amount of electricity that data centers are using as the amount of jobs that Nissan impacted by coming. Nissan is hiring, they have 5,000 employees out there, but they have so many companies that are supplying Nissan that the tertiary jobs way outnumber the jobs Nissan had. So it's a difference of, it's great for the locals, great ad valorem. I mean, if you think about Canton Public School District in Canton, Mississippi has a little over 3,000 students, a $27 million budget. Their fee in lieu from Amazon was $30 million a year. They doubled their budget with that one business showing up. So it is a windfall for school districts. It's a windfall for the communities that get them. And it does have some good high-paying jobs. It's just not as the same as manufacturing. So there's a trade-off on some of those. But it does take up an abundant amount of energy. And that prevents you from possibly getting a different kind of manufacturer to follow up in your community. So once you allocate that electricity, it's spoken for, you're done. And so we've got Energy's looking at different things. I know there's other companies that are looking at energy production. It's a regulated industry, so there's some feelings that get hurt real quick when people that aren't in the energy business want to come and start producing electricity, and then they want to put it on the grid to resell. Now you're touching other people's lanes, and so there's a lot of regulation, but that's something that we're always going to have to be mindful of is the cost and the amount of electricity that's available for these type of investments.
That's great. Thank you, Senator. Representative Newman, you want to add anything to that?
I want to add one thing. When for all the years that I was just in business, I spent a lot of time at the American Legislative Exchange Council, which is called ALEC. And they are legislators in business that work together to try to improve business performance all across the country. The first year that I was elected, before I actually was sworn in December, I went to a ALEC meeting in D.C., and the Nuclear Regulatory Energy Association was there. The agency, not association, the agency was there. And I talked to some engineers that were there, and the reason I looked for them and then asked them this question was because, we have one nuclear reactor in Mississippi, and I wanted to know, what would we need to change in Mississippi to be able to bring more nuclear power to Mississippi? And the guy looked at me kind of funny. He said, believe it or not, Mississippi is the only state that has passed everything that needs to be passed in terms of state laws, that y'all have done everything that you're supposed to do, that you need to do to be able to go with another nuclear reactor right now. He said the only thing you'd have to worry with is who's going to pay for it, because it costs so much money. You'd have to figure out how you're going to get the ratepayers to pay for something like that. But I found it very interesting that had been done several years previously, and that the state of Mississippi is prepared to do all that. With anywhere in the state of Mississippi, we have the necessary laws that we need to go to a nuclear reactor. And since then, I've spent a good bit of time talking to those guys, trying to figure out the best way that we could go forward with that, and because that is the cleanest form of energy that we have. And they started telling me several years back about these small nuclear reactors that could be put in, and that it would be a lot cheaper and a lot more economical to do. And so those are becoming a reality right now. So Mississippi was already prepared to do that when a lot of the other states are not prepared for it.
Representative Powell.
Okay, I'm Chair of Public Utilities, so I'm neck deep in this topic. I was in D.C., I'm just going to tell you now, I was in D.C. at a conference, and a lot of other state elected officials, House and Senate, are begging for these things. So we're in a unique position that we're getting these. As long as MDA, ranking first, they all acknowledge the energy needs of it, when they do the disclosure or non-disclosure statements with, say, Amazon or any other, there's dozens of these companies coming. And as long as they do their due diligence and make sure that these companies are paying for this upgrades in the electrical grid and such, we're in a good shape. In fact, Amazon's rates recently, y'all may have noticed, Energy it said they're going to put over $200 million into the transmission lines. That's all coming from Amazon money. So as long as our agencies make sure that these companies coming in will be paying for this, we should be in good shape. You just got to keep updating. Entergy does have space at Grand Gulf for another nuclear power plant. There's probably a few years down the road, because the last one that was built was in Georgia and it went way over cost. So these things are incredibly expensive to build, and probably what you're going to see in the next few years, now that the federal government is allowing more nuclear talks to happen, you're going to start seeing these pop up, and you're probably going to see these kind of cookie cutter get built. So Energy may not want to be the first one. They want to be maybe the fifth one, to where you got these costs under control and you know exactly what that power plant's going to cost. So, but as long as, like I said, as long as MDA does their due diligence, make sure these companies come in, they're allocating the money for upgrades. And they told us after, they couldn't tell us before, but Amazon came in and they got with Energy and they said, all right, we're coming. We need you to upgrade that Greenville facility that you're just shuttering. Energy said there's a 2-year lag time on getting these parts we need for this power plant. Amazon said, go ahead and get them. them. That way they're ready when we come. If we don't come, we'll pay for it. That's the type of stuff that these companies are doing, and as long as MDA keeps that in there, we should be in good shape. And the ad valorem taxes on these rural counties that are going to get this are phenomenal. Ask Craig Slay how much Rankin County is fixing to get on the one that's coming to Brandon. So these are a great opportunity. Not many jobs, like Josh was saying, but the ad valorem taxes to the counties is unbelievable what's coming. So,
Representative Varner.
I'm still trying to figure out that I got a computer in my hand right here. The technology is coming, and we know it. Data centers are coming. Do I understand them? Absolutely not. But these guys have a lot more knowledge than I do. So thank you all for having the knowledge. And I do believe, like, as far as the taxes coming in, I think that's where we have to. That's where we're going to get the benefit from, the ad valorem taxes for sure. But for me, I don't have a lot of knowledge in this space. That's when I'm yielding to Brent over here and these guys, because they've been studying a lot more. I do know that it's good for as far as the tax side of it. I do know that, but I'm going to yield to these guys on this question. So.
Thanks, Representative Yancey.
Well, the benefit of going last is you get to hear everyone's answer, and then I don't know how many more ways this question could be answered, but I would just say let's make sure the ratepayers aren't stuck with the bill, and make sure the companies that are coming in are generating what they need on their end, and
that's great.
That's what I look for.
Thanks, sir. Senator Harkins, you mentioned a little while ago Rankin County has the lowest unemployment rate, has almost exclusively for a long time. And I know for Rankin First, for everybody in this room, workforce development is extremely important. So what do we do to improve the workforce development? And then a part of that is, how do we create the environment for our high school and college graduates to remain in Mississippi and not have the brain drain, as they call it? Anything you can think of that we can do that makes that even better?
Anything? All right, get comfortable. We'll be here a minute. I think there's several phases or aspects of this question that we can start with. One is education. It's K through 12 education. It's obviously identifying kids that aren't going to go to college but need to learn a trade. I think we've taken the approach that life cycle is you graduate high school, you go to college, you get a job, get married, have kids, whatever. I think the reality that we live in, they're kids that are just not going to go to college. They're not cut out. They just don't have that future in store for them, but they can work. They can learn a trade. They can go to work. I mean, if you've called an electrician or plumber or HVAC repairman to your house, you understand they can make there are ways to make a good living in our community, and learning a trade is tantamount to, I think, a lot of the ails that we suffer from. Kids that don't have that future of going to college don't learn a trade. They wind up being on the wrong side of the law. They wind up getting in trouble. They cost us dearly on the other side of the coin. So I think identifying kids early in K through 12 and trying to prepare them for a trade is one of the things we can do. Equipping our community colleges that do a lot of this training, job skill training. You're seeing kids now with early enrollment that can. I mean, I know a girl in Vicksburg, I think, that's getting her community college degree same day she graduates high school. So it's one of these things that people are starting to take advantage of our community colleges. I think they are a great tool in the toolkit to help to train kids. I know Hines is working hard here. We've invested a lot of money in their new Allied Health building, but they have other programs to help train people for work. But you're talking about electricians, you're talking about HVAC. There's so many things that we can train people up for that you hear from the business community, like I need people, I need bodies, and the bodies we need are people. And I kind of laughed at this, but then I suddenly realized they weren't kidding. Soft skills. I mean, do people understand what soft skills are? Hey, work starts at 8. You don't show up at 8:30. You get there at 7:45. Financial literacy in high school probably needs to be as mandatory as English and everything else we make mandatory for kids. I think when you can have kids that understand the value of money, how much does it cost to earn $1? And sometimes a good hard job in the summer cures a lot of ails for some kids that decide, well, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. I'm going to study a little harder. Or they may find something they're passionate about and they get into it. But I think education is probably where we need to start. I think also helping our community colleges with job skills training and other part of this is the engagement from the business community. This is why it's so important that y'all are part of the discussion, because I don't know what you need. I'm in real estate. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a farmer, there are a lot of things that I'm not. So I don't know what your business needs. If y'all don't let us know, we don't have any inclination that we need to do something. I mean, we're assuming everything's fine if we don't hear anything. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, or the grease is the saying. Well, we need to hear where the areas that we're lagging in, so we can work with our K through 12 schools. We can work with our community college, set up programs. Accelerate Mississippi is doing a wonderful job, and I think that's where we build on, is starting with those two areas, our K through 12 and our community colleges. But part of the equation is we have to know from the business community. We have to hear from y'all to know what is needed. So that would be where I would start.
That's great. Anybody else? Senator Kirby?
Well, a little bit. First off, Rankin First and the Chamber are doing a good job of making sure that we have sites like the new one Gary was talking about earlier. But to have a site that's shovel-ready is what we call it, where if some company wants to come to Rankin County or to Mississippi, then we've got a site saying, here it is. We've got everything that you need right here. So, and now what does that have to do with workforce? Everything. It has everything to do with workforce, training even, because of those people need workers. But also, a point that Josh made, there's a lady representative in the House whose son had one son as a plumber, another one is in his last year of med school. The one in med school dropped out, went in business with his brother in the plumbing company, said he could make a lot more money. And that really happened. That's not a joke. I mean, he said he could make a lot more money in the plumbing company he could make as a doctor. So, yeah, having our community colleges, working with them, helping them in every way that we can, I think is very important. Representative Newman here even had a TV ad talking about workforce training and other ways other than getting a degree in whatever that you may not ever use. And it was a good ad, and I agree with him 100%.
Anybody else? Yes, Representative Varner.
Yeah, one thing, being on university and colleges, one thing that we've talked about a lot, and some of the presidents, especially President Hines, we talked about it at length, is the issue we're run into is that we need electricians, we need plumbers, we need all these things. Well, the problem is there's not enough teachers to teach these electricians and plumbers that we need right now. And so talking about the data centers, tons of electricians are needed for the data centers. Let's be honest. Plumbers are needed for the data centers. And the one thing that they're worried about is they can't get teachers. And the reason they can't get teachers is because the teachers are out there making the money instead of teaching, right? I mean, they can't afford to leave their job to come teach because they're making money. And so trying to find some incentives to get some of these people to come in and train these younger generation. And not only that, we need to glorify electricians. We need to glorify plumbing. I know it's not the most glorified position in the world, but guess what? They're making good money. A lot of them are making more money than anybody in this room. I mean, some of them are. And they just are making good money doing what they do. And we need to find a way to, to glorify those positions. I think that's a big thing. But again, these presidents of these colleges are struggling finding people to teach some of these VOTEC type classes because there's not enough out there to teach them, and that seems to be a big issue. And talking about the brain drain and all the stuff going on. My daughter is a freshman at Mississippi State. I know Josh Harkin, I think yours is a freshman or sophomore at Mississippi State as well. And trying to keep these people here, I think, is number one too. And I've talked to my daughter's boyfriend's going to mechanical engineering, and I'm hoping we can keep them here. We want to keep them here. We want to keep them in Mississippi. And I told them, what can we do to keep them here, and they said money. So higher paying jobs, make sure we're competitive in our jobs, and make sure we have those jobs for these students is big. And so I think our job is, I guess, is in the legislature, is how can we help make sure we have good paying jobs, and make sure that the folks out there that have businesses, help them to make sure they have good paying jobs. So that's something we're going to have to figure out. But I just want to mention that about the Hinds Community College president. That was a conversation him and I had recently. So
That's great. Thanks, everybody. Representative.
I got a real world thing that affected my family. My daughter just recently graduated from Mississippi State in a 4-year program called Vet Technology, okay, which is basically like a nurse practitioner to a doctor. We didn't find out until December of last year, she graduated in May, that the vet techs are not board certified in the state of Mississippi. We have one of the only programs in the nation for this curriculum, and we don't even have board certification here. So we filed a bill last year, and the vets got with me and they said, we'll fix it, we'll do it. We don't know what we don't know, to piggyback off of Josh. So now my daughter's in Mobile, Alabama, and her mama ain't happy because she ain't home. So again, I mean, it's a real world situation to where my daughter, who got a great degree, is making good money at this job. It's not even recognized in the state of Mississippi because we didn't know about it. See, I'm not a vet, so I didn't know this. So it takes all of us. So if y'all see something in the business community, Mississippi State should have got with us 5 years ago when they had this program open it up and said, hey, by the way, we got this great program. They're not going to be recognized in the state of Mississippi. That shouldn't happen. So it's just a common sense approach from everybody. If you see something, we don't know what we don't know. We can fix it. We'll be glad to fix it. This should be a non-controversial bill I'm fixing to do. But now I've got to get my daughter back over here before my wife divorces me. So.
Yeah, there you go. Representative Newman or Representative Yancey, anything you want to add to that?
No.
Okay.
I'll do.
Yeah, Senator Kirby, go ahead.
You know, this whole thing and talking about the plumber and the doctor and all this, you know, the doctor becoming the plumber, remind me of the story that Phil Bryant used to tell about the doctor that called a plumber, and he had a leaking pipe, and the plumber comes out, gets a wrench and tightens a nut and hands him a bill for $500. And the guy says, my God, you're going to charge me $500? You weren't here 5 minutes. And he said, yeah. He said, well, I'm a doctor. I don't charge that much. And the plumber says, I didn't either when I was a doctor.
There you go. Representative Yancey, anything you want to add?
I was just going to say, you know, there are a lot of good ideas about what we should do to develop workforce development and get our students ready for the jobs of today. And as we bring in more and more economic development, I think Governor Reeves has done a fantastic job of attracting businesses to our state. And you see just about a new announcement every month of many, many jobs that are coming here. We've got to keep our students here in Mississippi. And as Josh said, some of them aren't going to go to college. But they need to learn a trade. They need to learn how to make a living, how to be a productive citizen. And, you know, I've heard ideas, and I'm interested in fleshing these out. But one is perhaps in D&F districts, high school districts, allowing charter schools to start up within a community college setting so that they're taking high school classes as well as community college classes. And we talked about a child who graduated from high school and community college the same day, you know, and learning a trade while they're there. And so they're preparing for something intentionally rather than just getting a diploma. And I think more of that intentional training would help students get plugged in faster.
Thank you. We've got time for just a question or two before I turn it back over to Regina, I believe. And so how many minutes do we have, Regina? 5? Okay, 5 minutes. If you have a question, please stand up and speak loudly. Anybody? I've got other questions, but I'd rather hear your questions. John?
School choice affect Rankin County?
All righty. All right, let's get into it.
I'm sorry, we don't have time for any questions.
I will.
You want to answer? You want me to?
I will tell you this, on HB2 on our side, and they passed something, I'll let Josh or Dean speak to that, the bill, and I made sure I read it, and my eyes went cross looking for it. In 2 sections, it says that the school district does not have to take any students they don't want to. All they have to do is set their capacity rates. In other words, if you can only have 100 students in one grade, you say, I can only have 100 students in one grade. It's very flexible for any of the counties. Madison, Coast is already doing all this, but it's very flexible for the counties to basically opt out of it. So now there's a lot of stuff in that bill that we haven't fleshed out. It hadn't even gone to committee yet, but I do know that's in there so Rankin County can say, nope, we're not taking anybody.
So the question was, how will school choice impact Mississippi's? Representative Yancey.
You asked about Rankin County.
And Rankin County.
Yeah,
Rankin County. I'm sorry, Rankin County.
And so while we're still on the House bill, I mean, I would just follow up with that and say Rankin County, I talked to Superintendent Shane Sanders. Is he here? Shane here? I talked to him Saturday morning, and Rankin County Schools set their capacity limits 2 years ago. So they've already done that and said we can only take X number of students because we're at capacity. And most of our schools are at capacity. We're already the student-teacher ratio that we think is the right blend, and you're leaving a certain number of spaces available for students who move into the actual school district who, according to the law, have to go to that particular school. And so, but there are things in House Bill 2 that are good things. Financial literacy being taught in schools is one that Josh mentioned earlier. What I just mentioned about charter schools starting up in community colleges is in that bill. There is a pay raise for teacher assistants in that bill. But what you need to know as a Rankin Countyan is we're already at capacity, and we don't have to take any students from outside our district. Now, but you can think about students who, I was told by Celeste Hurst that in Morton, in the, I guess it's the Scott County school system, they didn't have a single chemistry teacher. Not a single chemistry teacher. And so students who wanted to take chemistry, I mean, if you're going to college, you have to have chemistry. They had to come to Morton to watch a video of a chemistry teacher when Pisgah was 10 miles away from Morton, and they couldn't go there because of the current school district. And so, there are reasons why kids need to go to a school district other than the one they live in. Bullying is the number one reason people want to move to a different school. So I'll just sit here and say I don't want to do anything to hurt Rankin County. None of us do. All of us are here because we love our county, but we want to see our kids have the best opportunity they can have. But Rankin County is in a position right now, because of all of our growth, we're at capacity and we can't take anybody else. And so I hope that answers your question.
And our time's almost up, but we've still got another minute or two up here for the answer to that.
I'll tell you, the Senate passed a bill so right now, if you had a kid that went to a school in Rankin County, and for some reason, there was a program at Clinton School that your kid would excel in. Right now, under the law, if Clinton accepted you, Rankin County would have to agree to let you go. The Senate bill just says that if another school district accepts you and you want to go there, you can't hold a kid back. You can't vote to veto a kid moving. And I don't know, you wouldn't want to date somebody that didn't want to be with you. I don't know why a school district would vote to keep a kid from leaving if they don't want to be there. And so the bill the Senate passed was just a portability bill that said if another school district accepts you, the sending district, which is the place that child's currently going to, does not have the right to veto the move. And so the current law says it has to have mutual consent from both school districts. This one just says if a kid's accepted at another school district, they can go.
Okay. Guys, I think we're out of time. Please give them a hand for all their great work and being here. Regina?
Well, let's give our panelists one more round of applause. So I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your very busy schedules to join us early on a Monday morning. I hope everyone found today's discussion informative and beneficial. It's always exciting to hear directly from our legislators about their key plans and priorities for the session ahead. And to quote Representative Gene Newman, I think we are all hopeful for special projects, and selfishly on the economic development side, the site development program. Please continue funding that. because that will help us all. It's no secret that Rankin County is blessed with one of the strongest delegations at the Capitol, and I can speak from firsthand experience when I say that our legislators and statewide officials truly work together to ensure that Rankin County is well represented. We value these strong relationships and truly appreciate how accessible and engaged our leaders are. Legislative advocacy is a key priority for Momentum 2030 campaign, and today's forum is just the beginning. We will continue to host events that bring our business community and policymakers together in meaningful ways. If you would like to get involved or have ideas for future events, please don't hesitate to reach out to Garrett or myself, as we want to make sure we bring value to you. Your feedback helps ensure that we remain relevant and responsive to your needs. Now, before we conclude, please make plans to join us on April 14th for our post-session legislative forum, where we will review what was passed and what to expect. So panelists, in a few moments, if you would please make your way to the stage left for a group photo and a small token of our appreciation. I just want to again thank you all for being here today, and we look forward to continuing these meaningful conversations together. Thank you and have a great day.
Here in Pearl, we have Trustmark Park. It seats 8,500 people. It's a great venue that we have here locally. You can catch a baseball game. We have a new team, the Mississippi Mud Monsters, so we're so excited about that. And Trustmark Park, the stadium's been fully renovated. And adjacent to that, we have Bass Pro Shop, as well as the Mississippi outlets that people can come shop and enjoy and have a great time. So it's a good place to come. It's a destination spot for our city. We did a $12 million renovation to our Parks and Rec several years ago, and what we were missing was another key area for our children to come and just be able to hang out and have fun, but also have some playground equipment that was really cutting edge. I've always thought if you can get your community together, then you can have a stronger sense of community. And I think that's what Main Street brings to the table for us. And even though we're a post-World War II city and our architectural doesn't signify a downtown, we're trying to have an area that we create that people can come together and have a sense of community.
Hi folks, welcome back into this edition of This Week in Pearl. I'm your host, Frank Hutton, and that was a great forum. Really enjoyed hearing all of our delegation. Just in case you might not know all those people, that was Senator Dean Kirby, Senator Josh Harkins, Representative Gene Newman, Representative Brent Powell, Representative Lance Varner, and Representative Lee Yancey. It was hosted by Greg Harper. So it was a great, fantastic program. Really enjoyed hearing from them and the questions that they were asked and everything that they were able to provide to us, and then all the business leaders that were out in the audience that took part as well. So I hope you found that just as informative. Let me just tell you one thing that's happening right now. The City of Pearl is closing on January the 19th to observe Martin Luther King Day. That is Monday, January the 19th. So a week from today, as of this filming, Monday the 19th, the City of Pearl will be closed. We will open for normal business hours the following Tuesday, January the 20th, as normal. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this show. Thank you all very much for tuning in. And until next week, y'all have a safe week.